Hello, I'm Katie from the Tech Team, and in last week's video you learned a little bit about sorting and filtering using Microsoft Excel. In this video we're going to continue on in Excel, but this time we're going to learn about using simple formulas and functions that can hopefully make your life and your tasks easier when using Excel. Let's get started. To go over these simple formulas that you will find useful in Excel, I am using a example sheet here for a book sale that I'm going to be having. I've already set up some data here, such as my title, the quantity of books, the price that I purchased the books for, as well as what I intend to sell them for. I've added some columns for our difference between the purchase price and selling price, as well as the potential profit that I could make. To fill in these columns, we're going to start using some formulas. So the first thing that I'm going to do is click in cell H2. Now whenever I click into a cell, you'll see that it'll have a green box around it that indicates that it's selected, but you can also see up here in the name box that you can always determine which cell you have selected by looking at the name box as well. So now that I have selected cell H2, I am going to start with my formula. And if you don't know, anytime that you are going to start a formula, you need to use the equal sign. You can't just start typing any of the cell numbers or names, anything. You have to start with the equal sign. So since this is going to calculate the difference, I am going to type in my equal sign G2, and you'll see where cell G2 is now kind of highlighted in blue. And then for difference, I'm going to use the minus sign, and then F2. And now you'll see F2 is highlighted in red. So it's going to take the difference between the two of these. I'm going to press the tab key to see my result. And the difference in my purchase price and selling price for this particular title is $1.90. Well, that's pretty helpful. However, we have more than one copy of this book, so I can enter another formula to determine the potential profit if I sell all 6 copies. Right now you can see that I2 is the cell that's selected. You can see this both here and in the name box. And I'm going to go ahead and type in equals H2, because now we're going to use this difference, times. So you don't want to use the X for multiplication. You actually want to use the star. So times E2. And you can see here it does not matter if I capitalize the H or the E. I tend to do the capitalization, but I did want to show you that it does not matter as long as you have the cell properly typed in. And you can also see it right up here in the function bar that this is going to be the formula here. So I'm going to press enter, and if I sell every copy of this book, I'm going to make $11.40. Not bad. Now, these only applied to H2 and I2. However, it's going to be the same formula going all the way down the list as far as difference and potential profit goes. So you'll see that if I click and drag over H2 and I2, I can use my fill cursor over here to drag down, let's say I just drag down this much, all the way through the appeal, and you'll see that the formula has copied. Even better, if I want to continue going the rest of the way without clicking and dragging, I can double click on the fill handle and it populates everything for me. Now, of course, I could have done this just from the beginning, but I did want to show you the clicking and dragging, that way that you can save yourself a little bit of time and maybe save your fingers scrolling a little bit if you have quite a lot of data that you are applying this to. If any numbers used in the formula at this point changes, the results will change as well. I'm not going to have to go back and recalculate anything if the price of a book changes. Let's say that I change my selling price for clean sweep. So if I click in cell G12, right now it's currently priced at $14.25. I can just type in 15, press tab, the difference will change, and you saw that the potential profit changed as well. So again, if you have any data, you've applied a formula to it, and then you go back and start kind of fiddling around with the data or numbers change, that's okay. You do not have to start from the very beginning and redo your formula all over again. So now I want some more data from this. So I want to know perhaps how many books I have in my inventory. Maybe which one's the most expensive, which one's the cheapest. There's a lot that I can pull out of just this little bit of data. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to use this name box up here. I'm going to click in it, and whenever it's highlighted, you can immediately type right over it. And I am going to type in E14 and press enter. And you'll see now that the cell that is highlighted is at the very end of my quantity column. So what I'm going to do now is I'm in my formulas tab. I'm going to click on recently used, and then what I need from here is sum. This is going to add all the numbers in a range of cells. That's what I want here. So whenever I click on that, it's going to pull from E2 to E13. There is a little bit more information right down here. You'll actually even see what the formula result is going to be. It's going to be 74. And it also lets you know right here that logical values and text will be ignored in cells. So if you have any text written in here, thankfully we don't, but if you did, this could be potentially why you would get an incorrect value if you were using this at home. So I'm going to click on OK. And you'll see here that now my quantity, just like it kind of previewed, is going to be 74. Now, we are going to do the same thing for our potential profit column. So I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to click on I14. And there's kind of a nifty thing here, and some of you might already be familiar with it. Instead of going and looking up a formula or typing something in, I can click on Auto Sum. And you'll see that it immediately pulls the range I2 to I13. You can see the box highlighted there. That is what I want. I'm not going to do any extra clicking around. At this point, I could press Enter on my keyboard, but I can also just click on Auto Sum again, and that locks it in. So if I sell every single book, I could potentially make $224.53. Not bad. Now we're going to create a kind of a different section for our totals and move some of our results around just so we can kind of read our data more clearly. So I am going to click into cell H16. So we're just going to go right down here. You can see I'm in cell H16, and I'm going to type out a couple of things. So first things first, number of books. Press enter, takes me down to the next cell, total potential profit, press enter again, least expensive, we are going to find out which book is the least expensive, and most expensive, of course, and then finally our average price. What are we going to be making on average as we sell these? So I'm going to press enter. At this point, I could resize my boxes. Just a little refresher, you can double click right between here. It'll resize your box for you. And we already have the results for some of this. They're currently located in cell E14 and I14, but they can absolutely be moved without losing the data that's in them. So what I'm going to do first is I am going to click on I14 right here. So again, this is my potential profit. Whenever the cell is highlighted, you want to go to the edge until you see this four-headed arrow. So I am going to drag it right here. You'll see that if you look up here in my formula bar, it still has the formula that we used earlier whenever we did auto sum. but now it has just moved cells. Same thing for 74 for our total quantity. Just wait until you have that four-headed arrow. You'll kind of see it as it moves across the screen, and I'm going to put it right here for number of books. Again, formula was not lost. It has just been moved to a different location, and I could edit it in that location too if I wanted to. So now we're going to take a look at what our least expensive book is. So we're going to click in I-18 right next to least expensive. And from here, I'm going to go up and click on Insert Function. So here is where I could search for a function. If I had a brief description of like kind of what I wanted to do, like I know I'm trying to find the minimum, the least expensive, but luckily for me, it does kind of automatically sort it by different categories, and I have the minimum right up here. If I want to double check if this is what I'm looking for, I'm just going to click on it, and the description says it returns the smallest number in a set of values, and of course it ignores the logical values in text. This sounds like what I need, so I'm going to click on OK. And then from here is where I'm going to need to modify it a little bit, because by default it is pulling things from the I column, and that's not necessarily what I need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to collapse this. So you'll see this right here. I click on this and I can see more of my spreadsheet. I could move this around if it was blocking anything. Sometimes it might kind of pop up down here. So I'm just going to move it right up here. Now it's going to allow me to click on a cell and it's going to be added to the function. And what I mean by this is if I click over here in G2, so beginning of my selling price, you'll see up here that G2 is going to appear in the bar. And what I'm going to do then is drag all the way down to G13. Whenever I release that, you'll see both G2 to G13 is there. I can click on Expand to expand my function arguments box. And I'm going to click on OK. And you'll see that my least expensive book using the minimum function is $9.50. Not terrible. Now I'm going to press enter to figure out which book is the most expensive. We figured out the least expensive, let's figure out the most expensive. So what I'm going to do is go over to our recently used, and again, this might be best called commonly used, but again, it is referred to as recently used on your ribbon. And what we need now is the max. So again, this will pop up, the function arguments box, and we are going to, instead of highlighting our range like we did last time, we're going to type in G2, again, capitalization does not matter, to G13. I'm going to press OK, and our most expensive book is $22, so I really hope we can sell some of those. I'm going to press the Enter key again to come down into I-20, and now we are going to find the average price of our books. So what we're going to do is click underneath Auto Sum here. So we could, earlier we just clicked right on this, but I'm going to click on the arrow below, and we can click on Average. So this is not going to open the function arguments box. In this case, the cell range is assumed. The function will appear. You'll see it in our formula bar right here. If we needed to change the range, we could easily do so. And you see that right there where our cursor is blinking, that we can just type right over it. So I'm going to type G2, and I'm going to ignore everything else that pops up, to G13. You'll see it's highlighted that column for me. I'm going to press enter, and the average price of our books are about $14.46. And now you know a couple simple formulas and functions to use in Excel. Of course, it's always a great habit anytime you're messing around with data in your workbooks to save often. So I'm just going to click on the save icon here. And that is that for today's tech class. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have found this information useful. If you come across any questions or things that give you trouble while using Excel or anything else tech related, please feel free to reach out to us via phone or email. We're always happy to help, and we hope that we can see you again soon.